My mother is in the room like right next to me, so I'm not going to be screaming today. Also, I want to open the window every once in a while. It's annoying because she has 8 different places where she can do her job, but every once in a while she chooses to go like be right next to me. It's one of the painful parts of not paying rent. It just is. I just like to say that I'm looking at Street Fighter 6 character art and character design art. This is for KOF, but you look at this concept art. You look at this concept art. Look at this concept art. And then what you get is this shit. Like, I think the RE engine is a spectacular homegrown engine for Resident Evil games. And I would like to support game companies to make their own engines. But it's been a fucking disaster for pretty much every video game that isn't Resident Evil. Like, Jesus fucking Christ, this looks atrocious, doesn't it? It would be so much better if they just were using, like, Unreal or some shit. Like, the RE engine just isn't good for the games that don't require that kind of, like, cinematic lighting and shit like that. It's just ass crap for any cartoonish shit. Are you trying to determine whether Jamie's R63 should have whale tails? In my mind, R63 Jamie does not wear underwear, so no whale tail. Of course, literally everything in Street Fighter has been a downgrade since Street Fighter 3, when the series was also at its all-time low in terms of popularity, so it just shows you that any kind of commentary on how good something looks from an artistic perspective isn't necessarily going to translate into sales, so what the fuck do I know, I guess, but still. Why didn't you tell Capcom this last November? I mean, RE Engine came out... When did it come out? It was out for Resident Evil 7, wasn't it? So we've had RE Engine for... how many years now? For quite a while, right? So as soon as they actually make an engine, there is zero chance of... any game company not using the fucking engine, right? There's no way these companies actually spend the time to and money to produce their own homegrown engine, and then you're like, we're only going to use it in like 4 games. No, they're going to be just like, we're going to have to use it every single fucking time. If that were the case, the Order 1886 should have been one of the best games of all time because its graphical fidelity. I mean, the Order 1886 is basically a precursor to RE Engine in terms of its amazing fucking lighting and stuff like that. It really does look amazing. I'm probably one of the few people here that actually played the fucking game. I actually bought it. It was like $5, I think, at some point. It offers about $5 worth of gameplay as well, so I think I bought it at the right price. You can finish it in like 4 hours. It looks amazing the entire 4 hours, and all you do is just do standard tactical TRPG shooting shit, going to cover stuff. It really isn't suited for Monster Hunter, but they keep on using it. I've gotten a little I've changed my opinion on the Monster Hunter because there are shots in Monster Hunter where it really does look really good. I think a lot of the Monster Hunter graphical complaints are due to a combination of the game being poorly optimized for PC and PC gamers being way louder and more annoying than console gamers in terms of like being like, oh, it has to run perfectly on my, 987 GeForce Double X that came out in 2008. What's wrong? Optimize your shit, Capcom. These people are all, won't shut the fuck up. Combined with the fact that it's not supposed to look colorful in the sandstorm stages of the game, and it looks much more colorful in the later parts. Like, I think the forest looks really good, especially during like downpour and stuff like underwater shots and things like that. But that doesn't change the fact that like half of the time the game kind of looks washed out. I prefer washed out though than like overly saturated though. There are games that where the color palette is so saturated, I just don't play it just because I don't like the color palette. World of Warcraft being the number one of them. I was like, I should probably try and play World of Warcraft for a little bit because it's like the most, popular MMORPG of all time, but whenever I felt like doing it back when I would still when that was still like a possibility for me, it was just like, nah, this thing looks like shit. Retail WoW or Classic WoW? I don't care which one. They all look bad to me. I don't like the color palette. Just don't like it. Simple as. I don't consider myself to be a graphics whore, but there is a certain point at which I'm just like, it's too unpleasant to look at, so I'm not going to play. Have you seen or played Warframe? I played Warframe for about 10 minutes and it felt too cheap for me. Just the spacing between the art assets and stuff. It felt like a 7 out of 10 game that you would play on like PlayStation 2 that you would buy out of the bargain bin. And I'm sure the Warframe fans will be like, no, it gets better if you play it for 1,000 hours, but there's other video games I'd rather play in my spare time, so... The game that I have the most time slotted in is Final Fantasy XI, for obvious reasons, if you actually start playing it. But at every moment in Final Fantasy XI, just like the graphics, it always felt it looked really good to me. Just the art style and the atmosphere of shit, and I wish there were more games that felt like it, but there aren't. You can't go back. Even if there was a game that was like Final Fantasy XI, I wouldn't be allowed to go back because takes too much time to play, sadly. When I look at WoW, the graphics and aesthetic make me feel like it's a fake game, if you know what I mean. Like a fake game in a TV show. You know what the fake game in a TV show, the number one for that is? It's fucking Battlefield. I can't count the number of times when they're like, they show an image of a guy playing video games when he should be taking care of his wife or child or some shit like that, and he's playing Battlefield 3 or something. It's almost always fucking Battlefield. Battlefield is like the most nondescript, but like, look at this fucking loser in his 40s playing video games instead of like being an adult aesthetic of all time. WoW is a little too distinct, I feel, and recognizable for it to be like the Hollywood go-to for that kind of like generic video game of gamers, honestly. If you want an MMORPG that is like extremely generic and it could be like a stand-in for anything, I'd probably choose something like Guild Wars, maybe. Guild Wars 2. Like, if you look at this, doesn't this look like Giga generic video game? I have not played Guild Wars ever, but it just feels like a Hollywood producer's image of, you know, someone playing an online RPG. Even Call of Duty is a little too distinct sometimes if they want to have the generic video game. So they often go with Battlefield, I think. It looks like something someone's gamer son would play. You can just hear the mother being like, pause your game and come down and eat dinner. It's like, Mom, I can't pause my game. It's online. I need to level up. Jeremy is relying on me right now. If I don't level up, the entire continent of Eorzea is doomed. They leveled up. I turned on the TV when we were eating dinner the other day to like the local broadcast, and I was like, holy shit, it's what is it? It's Special Victims Unit. They're playing it. Holy fuck. Oh, they're on a rooftop that looks super similar to the Gamergate episode, LMAO. They must film on the same fucking rooftop in New York. And I'm like, no, wait. This isn't a rooftop that looks the same. It is literally the Gamergate episode. The one time in like 8 months in which I turn on the TV for an NCIS is playing and it's the fucking Gamergate episode. I'm just like, this must be destiny. They want me to relive the joy. Even Terra looks generic. So the reason why they can't use Terra for the generic video game MMORPG is it's pretty simple. It's this. Too much holy sexo. They're trying to keep it within a PG-13 rating, guys. They can't handle that level of Korean horniness. Korean birth rate currently at 0.7, by the way. Doesn't it also have the fat thighs race? Or am I thinking of a different one? What was the lowly race called? I can't remember. Ellen. That's right. The fucking giga thighs lowly. It's not a loli if she has massive wide breeding hips and fat ass thighs. Lalafell bros, it's fucking over. Final Fantasy 14 gamers get a goddamn potato, whereas Terra gamers get this sex incarnate. I remember Asanagi made like an entire doujin just about Ellens before he moved on to Grand Blue Fantasy drafts, getting their horns sawed off. In his early stages, he had like an Ellen doujin. That's not a loli, man. That thing's ready for spitting out children. Look at the hip wide child breeding hips. This dude said potato, the way you give criticism is so straightforward and brutal. That's not original content for me. The Tarutarus and Lalafells in Final Fantasy 14 and 11 have traditionally been called potatoes by the community. Like, you wouldn't fuck a potato, and the answer is yes, you would. But yeah, they've always been called potatoes. There's 2 potatoes in your gamer den right now, and one is your PC and the other is your Final Fantasy 11 character. The more you know, yeah, it's just like standard internet, community slang that you wouldn't be familiar with if you weren't involved in the 5,000 hours of gameplay that is required for Final Fantasy 11 and 14 before you can, actually get to endgame. Trying to figure out how much hair I want to. Where I want to start the braid, I guess. Alright, that's good enough. I don't need to be grinding this, the rough draft forever. Korean loli sounds like a dish I get at a Korean barbecue joint. A Korean barbecue opened, not barbecue, a Korean fried chicken place opened close to the Kroger I shop at. So I went and had some Korean fried chicken for the first time. It was kind of mid, not gonna lie. It's not as bad as like Popeyes and shit like that, but I think I'd rather just go to, or excuse me, not Popeyes. I like Popeyes. I was going to say it's not as bad as KFC, but if I had a choice between this Korean fried chicken place and Popeyes, I think I'd choose Popeyes, is what I wanted to say. I'm standing for Popeyes, basically. Do not have sex with Jamie or you will become intoxicated through your penis. Then female Jamie revokes consent the next week and fucks you over. Jamie's a bro. I know she'll be okay with it. Also, it's technically not alcohol. It's herbal medicine, LMAO. I guess they decided that just like having a character be habitually alcoholic is probably not good in the year 2025 or something. Is the neck too short? It might be. No, I think it's about. I think. All right, we can. Is it too short? I guess I can just make the head smaller. Is that a thing? Yeah, okay, that works. Yeah, I think that's okay. And then we'll lower the arm a little bit. Here's a pro artist tip. If one arm's shoulder is up, in many cases, not always, but in most cases, the other shoulder's arm will go down. A little actually further down. I'm going to just like... So, also, if the shoulder tends to go up like this, the hip tends to go up like that. The hips and the shoulders tend to be linked, although not always. You can check this out by doing poses yourself in the mirror. It's not like a hard, fast rule, but contrapposto, the Italian art of like drawing David and stuff like that, is based on this. He should have an alcohol tremor mechanic. Deals 1 damage at a time continuously. Do we have any alcoholic chads in chat? It's pretty funny because if you're related to like Japanese society, they have like so many functional alcoholics in Japanese society, especially like the older generations, because like you had to drink for work and stuff in Japan for quite a while. So there's all these people who are just like, yeah, I drank every single day of my life until I was 60, and the doctor was like, you might want to stop drinking. He's like, huh. It's crazy how long the Japanese people live, considering some of the absolutely horrible work habits and life habits that are put on them. But it do be like that. Line of action, rhythm, etc. Once you start to feel comfortable, here, let me show you what I've been doing recently. My dailies, because it's really helped. Drawing this rough draft has been much quicker than usual, and I feel like it's much smoother. And that's because I've been fucking grinding gesture drawings for the last, I don't know, for like 2 or 3 weeks. Two or 3 minutes each. There's 3 helpful websites that just have endless references that you can go for. And it'll sort of give you a more comfort in terms of drawing full body poses and what parts of the body you can just kind of, that have like the, you know, the line of action, the smoothness, that kind of stuff. And so on. We're currently at 142, so do 10 a day for 3 years. That's 10,000 drawings. I drank too much in Japan. My best friend in high school drank a lot during his year at Kobe. The stress and overwork melts the fat away. It's pretty crazy how much a lot of Japanese people drink. When I was on the swim team, my god, like, we weren't one of those fake Japanese college sports clubs where they're only drinking and like having gang rape parties and stuff like that, but man, after they were done with like the season, like the people were like just drinking like fucking crazy, like Jesus. But I guess that's every college in some ways. It just feels like, considering the number of people that don't have the gene that, or I guess don't have the gene is the correct way to look at it, are lacking these enzymes to properly what do you call it? Handle the alcohol, detoxify the alcohol in their blood, and can just like straight up die. And I'm one of those, by the way. My God, there's a lot of fucking drinking going on in that country. I guess that's every Asian country. The relationship between the how much people should be drinking based on their genetics versus how much they actually do drinking is completely out of whack. The lines are clean. If you look at the later ones that I'm doing, the lines get cleaner and cleaner. And that's just over like a few weeks, maybe a month. You really do start to... If you actually think about it, for anybody who actually draws in chat, when's the last time you've really drawn a character from head to toe with like the feet in the picture like this? Like the entire body with the shoes, with the ground, or the character in a different pose like this. Like, you don't do it very often. Because, like, half the time you're just drawing from, like, chest up, right? So you really do need to force yourself to do that kind of studies, or else you won't be able to get that kind of movement and shit. There's this crazy nun I used to work back in New Orleans who was the most functional drunk who cooked clean charity work, worked harder than her whole chapter 2. The functional drunks are truly functional, right? And it used to not be a big deal and used to be like a normal part of society before people were like, actually, drinking is bad for you. Did you know that? Or actually, sir, alcohol is poisonous. That's my own impression of myself. Did you know that I don't drink because it's bad for me? I get like a headache, not like the day after, but like when I'm actually drinking at the time. Like if I start having like a vodka tonic or something, before I get to the bottom of the glass, I start to feel sick. So it's just like, okay, we need to come to terms with who we are and what our genetics are. And you're just not built to do this drinking thing, buddy. You ain't built that way, son. Puke and rally. I can't even puke that quickly. My body is just like, what the fuck, you feel awful. And I tried to puke and I was like, no, I can't. I've puked once when I was still in college and I was still like, no, I can do this. I still got it. And yeah, I gave up. No more drinking for me, ever. My mother was drinking some non-alcoholic beer over the holidays, and I had like half a glass of non-alcoholic beer. And the thing about non-alcoholic beer is that they can't remove all the alcohol, so it still has a very small amount of alcohol in it, like 0.5%. And like half a glass of non-alcoholic beer was enough to make me like buzzed. So it truly is fucking over. It's donezo. Cheap date in terms of not drinking, yeah. But you can't date rape me because I won't be you won't be able to slip the pill into the glass, so what's the point then, you know? I'll drink in your honor. My favorite drink was gin tonics. I just like the taste of tonic water and I like the taste of gin. I like bitter things. So drink a gin tonic for me, guys. Tonics are nasty. I just like the tonic water. For those of you who don't know, it has quinine in it. You're supposed to drink it if you're a British colonialist soldier in India, so you don't get malaria. I like how at the time they were just like, we could just drink this on its own, but instead let's make sure we mix it with our fucking gin. So we destroy our livers in the process. That's just what it means to be part of the British Army, guys. Gin fucks me up. Beer before liquor, never been sicker. Liquor before beer, it's all clear. Wait, is that the opposite? Do I have it wrong? I can't remember. It really doesn't matter for me because I'll be completely fucked up and feel like shit either way, so... Uh-huh. We're getting heavy storms right now. I have the window closed. Hopefully we won't lose power. If the stream cuts off suddenly, it's because we lost power, probably. That's bullshit. It's about alcohol tolerance. I remember as a kid I couldn't drink much. Well, not as a kid, but like, you know, when I was just reaching 21 or so. And my parents were like, you'll build up alcohol tolerance. And I was like, oh, okay. I just need to train myself. And yeah, that did not happen. Also, it's pretty funny how we were like, you need to train your alcoholism. Just like you're training for a marathon or something, when in retrospect, the less you drink is better. But people didn't want to believe that in the 90s is basically what it was. 90s and 2000s. We were like, no, there's these studies that suggest that if you drink in moderation, it's actually better than if you didn't drink at all. And now we know that stuff is bullshit. People were in, like, fucking denial. They were just like, no, it's fine. I can definitely have, like, 3 glasses of wine every night. Definitely not bad for me. Training how to drink is bullshit. It is bullshit. I mean, I think you do increase your alcohol tolerance, depending if you're one of the type of person, but it's just really bad for you. Because if you're like the true alcoholics, they can't even function if they don't have a certain amount of liquor in their system. Like, they'll be shivering until they get the fucking liquor inside them, so... Once you get that way, it's like you're just constantly fucked up, and the only way to unfuck yourself is to get more alcohol in you. They want an excuse to drink. There was a New York Times op-ed piece about trying to get people to do dry January. And the comment section was so fucking funny. It was so full of so many old-ass boomers who were like, I was running full marathons my entire life. And I don't care what the studies say. I'm in perfect health. I don't need to stop drinking. Fuck you. People were so salty that they were just being told that drinking was bad for them and they should stop. There were also a lot of comments like, how could I not drink when Trump is president? Old habits die hard. Red wine has antioxidants. It does, but whatever benefits the antioxidants have are negated by whatever negative effects of the alcohol is basically what studies show. And you can probably get those antioxidants by drinking non-alcoholic grape-based beverages and stuff anyways, so... A lot of shit has antioxidants in it, like, you know, a salad. I mean, smoking has health benefits too. I forgot what they were, but it's just that whatever health benefits they have, the smoking has, it's so badly outweighed by uh, the negative effects of smoking that any doctor who's like, oh yeah, you should try smoking is, you know, full of shit, so... I'm trying to figure out how large I want to make the eyes. The truth is, if you look at people from above, you actually won't see a lot of the white of the eyes. The eyelashes will block a lot of it, but if you do that, then you can't show as much as of the facial expression, so the balance becomes slightly difficult. Smoking is like a giga social buff. That's one of the huge copes I've heard by a lot of smokers, especially on the Japanese internet. They're like, I don't care if I get lung cancer. The time I spent with my best smoking bros in our segregated smoking section out on the fire escape in the cold ass winter, where everyone is kicking us out of the office because they don't want our fucking toxic fumes making the entire office smell like shit. The moments we spent together, that was the real smoking experience right there. I wouldn't trade that for anything. Any kind of health benefits. I'm like, you are fucking giga coping. Jesus Christ. It reminds me of in like Final Fantasy XI, if we're going back to MMORPGs, where if you wanted to have a leveling party, you would have to go to Valkrum Dunes and sit by the beach waiting for whoever to show up because there wasn't enough teleportation. And in those like 20 minutes when you're waiting for the healer to show up because they're on the other side of the fucking map and they have to catch an airship or something, was when you would like have chats with other players and you would like form social bonds and shit. And then after, if you became friends with that guy and you actually wanted to do like a boss battle later in the game, then you would call them up and they're like, oh, it's the guy from, 2 weeks ago, let's fucking go. And that was the whole point of MMORPGs. Those moments of quiet that you spent with your bros. And once they started making the RPGs convenient by adding all these like instances and stuff, that's when it lost all its fucking soul. It's really sad, honestly. And what I want to say is that sometimes inconveniences are necessary to simulate a real environment. This has nothing to do with why smoking is good, because it's not good. If you're a smoker, stop telling you that it's like a social buff. Just stop smoking. It's bad for you. You get to take a break for 15 minutes every hour and nobody questions it. Yeah, it's like, guys, I have to shoot up heroin. Be right back. I'm addicted to this fucking drug. Please understand, I can't work if I don't literally inhale these toxic chemicals for 15 minutes every day. I don't smoke, but people who do smoke always gather in groups. Yeah, so you can still gather in a group without smoking. I mean, that's why people drink as well, for the social lubricant stuff. That doesn't mean it's good for you. I'm inherently antisocial. I don't want to socialize, period. So I'm particularly hostile to these excuses like you should do this activity that's bad for you because you get to socialize with people in the process, because I don't actually want to socialize with people. Maybe if you ask a proper normie, they'll be like, no, it's a good idea. Go ahead. Did you coom today? Stop asking! People, stop asking about my masturbation habits. I've spoiled you by giving you too much of my lolcal information about what I jack off to. When I was working restaurant back in the house, smoke breaks were like the only reason you could ever get a break. Yeah. If you're a restaurant, it's pretty crazy how like all the restaurant workers have to smoke just to get through the day. Especially because like smoking is bad for your palate and you can't taste food better. So like it's pretty crazy that we actually have like top of the line chefs who are also still smokers, but it do be like that. Corpse took away some of the soul of gaming too with modernization. Some things look a certain way for a reason, be it charm or otherwise. I mean, to go back to the MMO discussion, like I really do think video games have to not give everything to players all the time. Like, who the fuck? I'm playing Monster Hunter Wilds right now, but who the fuck is actually going to go out into the world and like collect honey and shit in Monster Hunter Wilds when it just logging in you get all this stuff? So like, by making shit too convenient, they're actually removing a function of the game, which is the feeling of being a part of nature and knowing these spots where you can collect items and stuff and using it to craft your own ammo, blah blah blah. And like, yeah, a lot of that is annoying, and I think it's a fine balance you have to have as a video game developer between what is like too much annoyance and what is like necessary to get players to engage with some of the mechanics other than like the meat and potatoes, like the fighting the monsters part. Like, people are complaining about how there's not enough monsters in Monster Hunter Wilds, even though it's a similar number to stuff like Monster Hunter Worlds. And that's because they've removed all of the padding of the gameplay. They've removed a lot of the collection quests. They've removed like trying to find the monster and then having to chase the monster down, the monster leaving, all of that shit. There was all these stuff that made hunts take more time, and you had to know the map and stuff, and all of that has been removed. And I'm not necessarily saying that I want to be grinding honey collection before I can fight a monster, but you, as a game developer, I do think you need to consider how much service you're going to give to the player and how much you're going to take away. Because if you give people everything, they'll just be like, "Oh, this is great. I don't have to do that annoying stuff." And then they'll be done with the game, and they're like, "Oh, why is it so short?" And they won't take time to appreciate stuff. I was on YouTube the other day, and there's all these Japanese YouTube channels that just have like videos where they keep the camera in a location in Monster Hunter Wilds, and they're just observing the shit that happens in the game. There was like a 16-minute video of your lizard wife mount and the baby versions of it, and just observing how they behave. And I was like, damn, this person is really enjoying their game. They're really appreciating all the stuff that's presented to them. Games are so product-based now, it's not about experiences much anymore. I mean, you have to hope that the industry is learning from some of the shit that's going down, like Ubisoft possibly going bankrupt. Or not possibly going bankrupt, it's literally going bankrupt right now. They're selling off its assets and putting into like a separate company fund for Tencent, that Tencent gets a takeover, so it's not if, it's happening right now, so I'm sure they'll mostly learn the wrong lessons instead of the right lessons, but Ubisoft is just gone at this point. Yeah, it's gonna be a Tencent subsidiary. Assassin's Creed Shadows was not bad. That's typical Ubisoft for you. 7 out of 10 game. As someone who has played a lot of Ubisoft games after they were on sale for $20 or $15 or whatever, and not finished any of them except like 1 or 2 of the Far Cries, I can say most Ubisoft games, at least in the past, were good enough to walk around in for 10 hours or so and explore some of the mechanics, and none of them were good enough to actually buy at full price. And it took a while for the normies to catch up to that shit, but I think that's what happened ultimately. Also, Far Cry 6 was way worse than the other Far Cries and stuff, so I think the quality is actually going down instead of going up, so... Even Ubisoft games that were sort of at its peak that sold the best, I didn't particularly enjoy them, so... So was Stellar Blade 7 out of 10. It got popular because of Coomers. Assassin's Creed Shadows got hate for having a black pro tag. Assassin's Creed Shadows got hate for a lot of things. You can be like, no, the Chuds! The Chuds are giving hate to a video game that they shouldn't, but the truth is people didn't buy it. If Assassin's Creed Shadows had the same budget as Stellar Blade, it would be a massive success based on the number of copies they sold, but they don't have the same budget as Stellar Blade. I mean, that's the secret of the whole situation, is that the budgets are just too high. It's really not, it's not any more complicated than that. These companies need to figure out a way to produce games at a cheaper rate. They pretend to care about the Japanese culture to cover the hate for Yasuke, lol, W. The truth is, a lot of people are sick of DEI and saying, like, oh... Trying to tell people that it's a coincidence in 2024 that the protagonist, the first time they had a quote-unquote, like, real historical protagonist, they found the one black person in a game about Japan, of all places, in history. They found literally the only black historical figure that they could stick in there, and then they created like a historical fiction situation out of that. I think everybody, like, we don't have to pretend. We can take off the facade now. It was it was like number 5,000 of the DEI left-wing culture that had led to massive gaming hits like Concord, etc. They could have made him DLC like the Plantation stuff in Black Flag. I mean, it would have been fine probably if it was just if they just said that this is historical fiction, but they went out of their way to be like, no, this is, please experience the real history of Japan. And the lack of respect for just, like, the cultural setting was so obvious, as anybody who has watched any Japanese movie ever, like a samurai movie. It was pretty fucking blatant. I think what truly got me was they had these perfect square tatami mats in their first trailer, and I was like, holy shit. They don't even know what a tatami mat looks like. We can pull that shit up right now. It's fucking hilarious, actually. Tatami mats, a thing that you can see in daily life in Japan that hasn't changed at all. If they had literally one Japanese person on the fucking art team. In reality, samurai were just mercenaries, not honorable warriors. Holy shit, we got a history buff in here, guys. Most of the samurai honor stuff was created in the Edo period after they were done murdering each other because they had to maintain the samurai class. The reason why the samurai class needed to exist, even though they weren't actually like fighting anything, so it was mostly decoration stuff. Mercenaries is probably the incorrect term because they were just similar to any Western aristocrat, which fights based on land. You weren't a samurai if you didn't have land, which is why Yasuke probably wasn't a samurai. There's arguments over whether he should be counted as a samurai or not, because he was, I believe he got a some kind of stipend or some shit. But to be a samurai and without any kind of argument against it, you need to have basically land. You need to be a landowner. The guy who made Devil May Cry and Bayonetta seemed to like the game. I only know this because he was beefing with Twitter assholes. Yeah, well, he's always beefing with Twitter, so that doesn't really mean anything. He's one of those people that is just a contrarian and has to get in fights all the time, so... He was a decorative bodyguard for his lord. If we're being 100% honest, the cutscenes and options in Assassin's Creed Shadow that gives Yasuke the opportunity to have 2 gay romances and 1 heterosexual romance is probably the most accurate part of the video game. There's an extremely high chance that he was just a sex slave for Nobunaga, because if there's one thing that we know for sure about samurai is they love having sex with men, as is the case of any strong warrior. Just like me, for real. One of the most famous samurai, Hideyoshi, who was part of Nobunaga's military and was the first person to unify Japan before the Tokugawa period. He liked fucking women so much that people were like, this guy is so weird. Why doesn't he care about the pussy? It was a time where if you liked pussy too much, they were like, he's being a weirdo again. He likes having sex with women too much. Nobunaga wasn't gay. How could you say such a thing? So, if you play historical fiction games, there's often a character you might notice called Mori Rammaru, which is usually a character that's depicted as a pretty boy. And there aren't any real records of it. But Everything about our Dynasty Warriors interpretation of this suggests that he was prime grade A S-class bussy right here. He was just there for, you know, Nobunaga dick receptacle. As is often the case with strong militaristic men, we can only go so long without sticking our penis inside a boy. Really asking for it in this one. There's nothing gay about wanting to fuck this right here. I'm gonna really have to work on the abs. Jamie is like an ab monster right here. Damn. I think the belly button is too high. I always have difficulty trying to figure out the belly button positioning. It's like right above the hip bones. Japanese imperial family might be Korean. Yeah, that's why they don't actually look into the tombs they have of like the imperial family. It's said, this is a one of the conspiracy theories, is that they don't actually want to find out like the DNA stuff because it might expose that it's like a Korean, that they were like Korean aristocrats or some shit. And man, wouldn't the Koreans fucking love that? Anyways, that's it's pretty ancient history, obviously, so it doesn't really matter. Koreans would still find an excuse to hate the Japanese. The Koreans really love claiming that they invented everything. So if they invented the Japanese royal family, that would be a massive win for Korea. No one is as racist as Asians toward other Asians. What about Africans toward other Africans? That continent has like a genocide every 3 months. No love like Balkan hate, yeah. I don't know, I'm always just impressed that like you can have all these Rwandan genocides and stuff when I'm like, I look at them and I'm like, I can't tell the difference between these two racial groups in Africa. But I'll just have to take their word that they're definitely distinct. It shows you how like entry level American racism toward blacks is, like the whole one drop of blood stuff, where we're trying to be like, wait, is this guy's skin tone too light? Does he still count as black? No, no. If we trace back 5 generations, there was like a slave in 1802. He certainly still counts as black. When you have like various African nations just genociding each other with machetes. I have never heard any strangers make racial remarks in passing except people from Africa. Africa is unhinged. We just don't talk about it because it's just like assumed that it's just Africa being Africa. Obviously not a monolith, but some people still use the phrase not black enough. Yeah. If you ask me, all African Americans, hint being American, or too light skinned. I want those I want more of the African types that have skin that's like so dark it looks like they're blue. I feel like that's the most aesthetic, where you like literally can't see them in the dark. They must have like it must be like having a superpower when you go to the beach with that level of skin tone, because like you definitely don't have to wear any kind of sunscreen. I just think it looks good. There is a player called Dominion in the FGC Street Fighter community. I think he played Guile. I can't remember, but he was one of the black guys who had that level of skin tone, and because fighting games, the convention centers would often the lights would be low. Uh, you literally couldn't see him. It would just be like there's a shadow. It would be like in an RPG when like the forces of darkness entered the screen. Yeah, this is one of the slightly better lit Street Fighter convention tourneys right here, and you can still only barely see him. Bonchan fucking cracking up because he's getting the stare. I haven't seen him recently. I don't think he's playing Street Fighter 5 or 6, but maybe he's around. I remember there was like a Japanese children's book, and the main antagonist of that book was like a creepy person who showed up out of the darkness, and you couldn't see them except when they opened their mouth, and then they had these scary white teeth. And I remember thinking how fucking racist it was, but it wasn't for African. It was like an Indians who can also be like super giga dark skin depending on their region and stuff. This was a book that was probably written in like the 1960s or something, but I was like, damn, the natural camouflage racism going on. I mean, you want to see an example. We're talking Street Fighter. You want to see an example of black character, African character that's too light skinned. We're getting Elena in a few months, I assume. Now that is like the Japanese version of blackness, where they're like, we want to have Africans or African Americans, but we don't actually want someone that's like, you know, dark skinned. Have they released images of her yet? I don't think so, right? Yeah, I don't think so. Capcom being like, this is our African representative. God, we better get the original costume here. I'm trying to masturbate here, Capcom. I demand the bikini. Holy giga legs. People are gonna rule 34 the fuck out of her. Yeah. Also, she better not have the goddamn healing. If there's one thing that I think we can agree is that we don't need fucking healing and HP recovery mechanics in fighting games. I refuse to play fighting games at this point because I just don't have the time. It's a game genre that you have to spend a lot of time getting good at, and yeah, I can't. Drawing is just eating up everything. I actually started taking like a diary of what I do on a day-to-day basis and where all my time is going. And I was like checking my time, and I'm like, I'm not actually playing video games and stuff, and yet I still am not drawing like more than 7 hours a day, because I have like 8 hours of just like doing fucking nothing. Look at this shit. Chapter for my work diary. This is what I was doing yesterday. 8 hours of sleep, that's good. You have to get your sleep in. 5.5 hours of manga. What the fuck? That's not much at all. 2.5 hours of exercise. I really don't need that much, but, you know, it sort of ends up being that way. But here's the thing. Fucking miscellaneous. 8.25 hours of miscellaneous shit. I wake up at 3 a.m. after 3.5 hours of sleep. I calculate the hours of yesterday. You spend 1 hour working on the storyboards. That's what name means. It's a Japanese term for storyboarding. 3 hours I spend coming and shitting. We can probably cut that down a little bit. I spent at least like 20 minutes shitting. I just can't get all my shit out of my asshole quick enough. And then like 2 hours of like looking at porn and shit. Yeah, we can definitely cut that down a bit. Go back to sleep for about 2.5 hours. Here we have 30 minutes of me just sitting in bed like thinking about stuff, not doing anything. Okay, we do another 1 hour of storyboarding. Just like looking at the internet and not moving for 30 minutes and then 30 minutes of lunch. That's 1 hour. I do gesture drawing for 1.5 hours. Another 1 hour in which I'm not doing anything. Go back to sleep for 2 hours. 2.5 hours workout. 1 hour not doing anything. 1 hour inking. And so on. We can definitely cut this shit down, right? And it's the same the day before. 7.5 hours of miscellaneous bullshit. My problem is that before I like do an activity, I always have like 30 minutes of shit where I'm just sitting there not doing anything. You should wake up at 4 a.m. I am! And then I go back to sleep, and it doesn't fucking make any difference. You know, I'm not actually getting anything done. You don't get gains from workouts that long? I'm not going for gains. I'm just doing aerobic stuff. I take long workouts because it's my only opportunity for me to get out of the house. I'm a cardio guy. It's also when I'm thinking about stuff. That's when I think about what I'm gonna do in my manga in terms of like plot and shit. So it's kind of necessary. It's not like the entire time, but I always like think about the next ideas and stuff while I'm jogging. So I can't really cut into that much. I can cut into it a little bit. I just have a lot of time at the gym, which I can probably cut down on, but I can't cut down too much because it's my idea time. Your time management is all wrong because you don't wake up and put your face in a bowl of ice water. Have you seen the video that was making the rounds on Twitter of that, like, extremely ripped black guy who I guess is supposed to be, like, an entrepreneur or something? But, like, he fucking was putting his face in a bowl of ice water, except he was getting the water from, like, a bottle. He was, like, taking his fucking mineral water, Perrier, and putting it in a bottle so he can put his face in it. Was that guy for real? Was it satire? I mean, he'll probably tell you that it was satire now, but it was most definitely real when he was making it, is my guess. He thought that he was winning, but now the entire internet is laughing at him. Super Alloy Darkshine Sun. I think that what we can't really tell from that video is that I think that guy is like actually like 5'5" or something like that. He's definitely not 6 feet tall. As is often the case with extremely muscular guys, is it's way easier to get gains if you're shorter. I'm pretty sure he's compensating for his height. It would have worked in the 2010s when toxic masculinity was in. It's still in. You just need to find the limited amount of people that are easily tricked into buying your, like, alpha male courses and shit. It doesn't matter if the entire internet is laughing at you as long as you can get a few people who are willing to give you money and buy your course. Can you draw a quick gesture drawing of him with his face in the bowl? 1 minute to get your reps in. Let's just draw from memory. What does he look like? He had insane shoulder muscles like this. If he saw me how I was drawing him, I think he'd actually be happy because I'm giving him giga muscles. I feel like his delts and stuff, it was really imbalanced. Like he had massive shoulder muscles like this. He was like this. That was the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life. I like how he was writing in his diary, except it was on like page 2 of the book. Why do these people think that waking up early gives them like more hours in the day? That's not how it works. You still only have 24 hours in the day. If you're not cutting down your sleep by waking up early, you're just using the same amount of hours except at a different time. I'm gonna give her relatively small boobs by my standards. Because I want to have more room for the abs. Rat racers do that to get their soul-sucking corporal jobs. Yeah, but if you actually have to go to work instead of being a fake internet influencer, they don't actually want you to be there at 4 a.m. They want you to be there where the other people are there. I don't know if I want to give her the under boob. I think I'm not really feeling the under boob. We're not going to do the under boob. I know that's an unpopular opinion, but... I don't buy that for a minute. Are you saying that all the things he did in his influencer video are fake? No, that cannot be. We don't even know his name. So, in terms of, like, internet notoriety, he's kind of failing. You would say that any fame is good if you're trying to collect money on the internet, but if nobody knows what your name is, and you're just being made fun of after someone retweeted your morning routine, you're kind of failing in terms of the whole thing. Pain, I assume that was his name. No pain, no gain, baby. Do you think he was using steroids, though? I feel like his body was, like, right on the cusp of what might be possible natty, but probably isn't natty. I'm guessing he's not natty, considering it's his literal job. Yes? Okay, maybe I'm giving him too much credit. Everybody's like, nah, he's using roids. He's juicing. I think the general rule in 2024 is that if a guy looks like he might be juicing, he's definitely juicing. The only situation in which they're not juicing is if it's like they look like actually kind of scrawny. He didn't have the veins, though. I feel like the peak steroid aesthetic that you have to reach is when you have, like, the massive bulging veins. I was getting Japanese weightlifting, bodybuilding influencer videos, and one of them was, like, Ask Anything, one of those type, like, reader email ones. And I didn't actually click on it, but the question being presented to one of these bodybuilders was like, how do I get those thick veins? And he was answering it in the thumbnail. It's like, that's actually, and they censored the answer because they want you to watch it. And I'm like, holy shit. The Japanese work out so little and they have so little steroid knowledge. They don't actually know what the fuck happens when you're roided out to hell. That's so innocent and cute, Japan. These innocent Japanese people think that having these massive bulging veins is actually like a fitness goal instead of a unfortunate after effect of sticking horse growth hormone in your fucking ass cheeks 10 times a day. Rock climbers are the truly strong, not gonna lie. I get so much YouTube rock climbing algorithm stuff, and I keep on being like, I'm not interested, but they keep on sending me more rock climbing stuff. I'm not sure why, but they really want me to become a boulderer. You know who's the real strong men in this world? The gamers. That's right. Isn't that right, fellow gamer chads? They underestimate the strength we have cultivated after years and years of hitting our keyboard. Hashtag gamers rise up. Gamers already rose up. Old man, now everyone's a gamer. Now the hobby sucks dog ass. I think gamers are rising up right now. That's why Concord was a massive failure. I think that's basically what's happening. And by rise up, I mean people just aren't buying things, which is the bare minimum. People have just become apathetic to the slop that's being shoveled in front of them, which is a very, very low standard. And yet it's something that video gamers have been unable to bring themselves to do for like 10 years, but people are finally just like not buying the thing. Bravo, gamers. It took you literally 10 years, but you finally caught on to the fact that the latest AAA game might not be very good. Gamers are literally one of the most fucking gullible group of consumers on the planet. I mean, think about all the people that bought Diablo 4, the special like $100 edition, so they could just play a few days early. Like, holy shit, Batman. Talk about no impulse control. This might be, where does the vagina start? It starts like right here, doesn't it? I guess that's okay. Have you ever seen one IRL? I was born out of one. I've done actual nude drawings in real life, so even if I don't have sex, I've seen vaginas before, yes. They're not particularly special. They lack the aesthetic beauty of the penis. Diablo Immortal was the worst. I actually tried playing Diablo Immortal because I was like, I know I'm not going to get addicted to their stupid fucking monetization, so maybe I can just play it as a free game. And the fact that you have to play online so that you get to see all these dumbasses who have wasted $5,000 so they can, you know, be dressed up as a fucking shiny angel or whatever the fuck, and then they run in front of you. The fact that that shit is mandatory really turned me off within like the first 10 minutes of starting playing, and so I just quit because of that. Like, I'm trying to get into this story about how I'm the chosen one who's gonna fight the demons and stuff like that, and while I'm trying to get this fucking quest, there's like 3 other guys around me, you know, wearing fucking butterfly wings that shit orange pollen everywhere, and I'm just like, okay, this is just fucking toxic. I can't play this shit. I'm so glad that I was born without the genes that makes me extremely susceptible to these various gambling gotcha monetization stuff. I have very strong impulse controls when it comes to, you know, gotcha addiction mechanics and stuff. It would be pretty hellish if you were easily convinced to waste your money on these things in the modern day, because considering you have like a cell phone at all times, right? There's always a opportunity for you to waste your money. Whenever you open their phone, there's always a reason to just like dump $500 into Farmville. You can't even play as a free to play. You get to the end of the campaign and then you're just fodder for the whales in PvP and deadweight and raids. Yeah, but I wasn't planning to play faster than the past the campaign. I was just planning to like fuck around with the campaign just a little bit. But even that was too annoying for me, so I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna cut my losses and quit it. The time in which Blizzard could do no wrong feels like a truly distant memory, doesn't it? It would sort of make sense if they went that way after they were bought by Microsoft, but they were that way before they got bought by Microsoft, so their downfall has been pretty dramatic and fast, although of course they don't give a fuck considering they have whales that waste hundreds of thousands of dollars on their shitty ass monetization. They're laughing all the way to the bank. That's why it's so fun to be like Ubisoft is about to go bankrupt, because 99% of these AAA companies just shit on their customers and do the worst shit possible, and there's so many retards that are willing to throw their life savings at some piece of shit Diablo gotcha version that they'll never actually be punished for their poor behavior, but finally at least one of them might, you know, be going down as a result. Overslop is 10 years old. One of my favorite streamers is Super, a Overwatch champion who has stopped being a professional, but he still plays Overwatch 2, and I feel so sorry for him. That poor bastard. Overslop produced a lot of good porn, though. I guess. I'm not a huge fan of like animation stuff, so it's not as important to me. Who was the hottest Overwatch character in retrospect? My nomination is Farah, except that she doesn't have her limbs because she actually is like has gotten her limbs detached for her to fit in that like flying suit. So she's Ona Hole-fied. Orisa was the character I played when I played Overwatch for a very brief period of time when it was free for like one day. I can never figure out the level of hardness I want my tablet to be at. Sometimes I go like one above soft, one above the middle. Sometimes I have it on the middle. Sometimes I have it on hard. And every time I'm like, I think I've figured it out. I'm like, nah, maybe I should change it back. Theoretically, it should be harder because that means you'll have a wider variety of pen pressures that you can use. Because like the harder it is, the more variety it would allow for. But on the other hand, it might lead to more like hand strain. I don't know. It's just my lines right now kind of look a little stiff, so I was thinking maybe I should lower the hardness and then, you know. I need porn of Kiriko dominating beep with nationalistic subtext. I'm guessing it's Diva. Why is Diva censored? Not that I care. Ugh. I like Bridget at first, but she seems so bland. Like muscular tomboy is nice, but you know she's thinking about working on an engine block while you're fighting for your life through her anaconda grip folds. I feel like after a certain point, uh, the Overwatch design suddenly became like they ran out of ideas and they suddenly started to become super bland. Not even when before we got to Overwatch 2, like quite before that. I feel like the last Overwatch design where I was like, fuck yeah, was Ashe. And everything after Ashe was just kind of like mid. I can't remember if Ashe came before or after Bridget. The McCree rename. All he wanted was a little milk. It's not fair, fellow milk bros. Can't wait for Grand Blue Season 2 Oolong Tea. Are you talking about the fighting game or the main gacha? I don't follow any actual gacha. The state of any gacha. Weren't people talking about how FGO's plot was about to end? Like they were finally about to end it or some shit. And I was like, there's no way they can end it. It prints $1 billion. Oh, you're talking about the fucking anime? Who gives a fuck about the goddamn anime? Whatever. I don't watch anime at this point. That shit's for nerds. It's funny as fuck. You seem to be out of sync with like everybody else in this chat. Not that I actually care. I don't really need an echo chamber, but... I have not heard anybody talk about a gacha-based anime being entertaining in any way besides Fate shit-eaters who will put anything from the Nasuverse on their plate and just gobble it up. Okay, I need a lot of clothing wrinkles here. It's not fucking gacha. If you're saying Grand Blue Fantasy anime isn't gacha, I don't know what to tell you. The anime might not be gacha. It's based on a fucking gacha. Brand Blue is different from Grand Blue Fantasy. Well, I don't fucking know what Grand Blue is then. It's a diving anime. まあどうでもいいっすわ。そういうのは。ほんま。どうでもいいです。アニメはもう適当に見ます。いや、マジでどうでもいいっす。好きにしてください。もうこれからはもう日本語で話すわ俺。もう英語で話したくないみたいな。If you can't speak the superior language of my people, then you don't deserve to understand the wisdom I'm giving you. Motherfucker, I know enough Japanese through anime they can parse what you say. You don't really need to know Japanese. 90% of the shit that Japanese people say is just like, onegaishimasu. Anyways. It's just fucking mumbling. Japanese people don't say shit. Ha, そうですか。はい。わかりました。非常に難しいんですけれど、はい。はい、そうですね。It's all just mouth sounds. I mean, it's the equivalent of how Americans have to say like 10,000 times, like, excuse me, except worse. Japanese is all construction and context instead of formal sentences like in English. You can omit like large percentage of whatever sentence in Japanese. That's what makes it so fucking impossible to translate, because when you actually have to like pin down what they're trying to say in like an engineering document, they've left out like they can actually they don't even have to put in fucking plurals. I don't know if they want you to attach the single screw or like multiple screws when I'm trying to fucking translate this engineering document, which makes a pretty big fucking difference, obviously. So the language is extremely flawed when it comes to transmitting specific information. It's very good for like emotional shit like poetry and novels and stuff, hence their big ass manga industry, but it's not like Latin. A very unscientific language, Japanese. Four plates is a cakewalk. I started using free weights and then I stopped because I think I was doing it with bad form, and I wasn't even using like the press machines and shit like that. I was just using the dumbbells and stuff. But I would have days in which I had like lower back pain, and I was like, this is probably because of free weights. I'm probably like fucking up my form, but I don't feel like going through all the trouble of 100% making sure I'm lifting with correct form. So I'm just gonna go back to using the machines. It's not like I'm lifting like, 300 bench pounds or whatever, that shit like that. Anyways, who gives a fuck? If you think about it, Americans have like a really strong obsession with like specific strength standards, specifically the ones that you can measure through lifting and stuff like that. But if you have those guys do like a different kind of like I don't know, calisthenic strength challenges, they wouldn't be able to do it. It's all very limited. God, this entire stream just has a severe lack of vagina in it. The fucking stream topics that we have. How much to lift based on how tall I am. Who's the sexiest girl in Overwatch? Someone find their girlfriend and tell her to come to the stream. Oh wait, none of you have any girlfriends. Bone structure matters too. Holy shit, will you people stop coping about whether you can lift enough or not? If you can't lift a fucking Chevy Silverado truck, then you're a fucking pussy bitch. I think we've already established that, and you need to be subscribing to that guy who has the morning routine, so you can become a true Sigma Chad alpha male. Okay? I don't want to hear those excuses about how you're only 5'3", so you can't lift 7,000 pounds. Stop being such a fucking pussy and get out of bed and motivate yourself at 4 a.m. to go lift. You clearly haven't been paying for the Alpha Chad induction camp shit that cost you $30,000 for a week, in which you just have a bunch of guys yell at you. I have sex with trans men to steal their testosterone Sigma respect moment. Do you have to have sex with trans men? Couldn't you just have sex with like normal men to steal their testosterone? Oh, I guess you're not talking... I guess you're talking about like pills instead of using your penis as sort of a vampire fang to magically steal the testosterone from their body. I've been playing too much RPGs. I'm just like, yeah, just use your testosterone drain skill. Easy. What exactly is going on in this stream? A tragic lack of pussy has resulted in the entire stream just talking about stupid shit like how much they can lift. Unfortunately, all the women are playing the latest Sims clone by Korea in Zoe right now, so none of them have shown up in the stream. Elect Arnold to Prez. Trump is weak sauce. If he had run for president like 20 years before, he probably could have gotten there. He's a little too old now, but I feel like Trump and Biden are way too old as well, so... We're unironically having talks that Stephen A. Smith might be the next president and shit. So these horrible candidates ending up as president might not be as far-fetched as we think. What will you do if Stephen A. is the next president, guys? Imagine his hot takes from the White House podium. That will be so kino when he calls out LeBron as the president of the United States. Laugh because the Cowboys still won't make the NFC Championship. Wait, was Stephen A. a Cowboys fan in the... He's a Knicks fan for the NBA, right? Is he one of those, like, sad New Yorkers who, like, root for some of the America's teams? Like the Cowboys and shit? If you're both a Knicks fan and a Cowboys fan, what a horrible life you've chosen for yourself. You're both choosing to, like, support the most public, fucking normie-ass teams in the country, but they also don't actually win. Or a Mets fan or Islanders fan. There are always worse lives than being a Knicks fan, which is being the alternative New York teams. So if you want to truly sentence yourself to hell, you can be like the alternative New York team fan. You can root for the Nets, the Jets, the Mets, all three-letter words, and I guess Islanders. Wait, were the Islanders New York? I can't remember the hockey teams. It's the not Rangers. Wait, I can't remember. Shows you how important the fucking NHL stuff is. NHL New York teams. Oh, they have the Buffalo Sabres, Islanders, Rangers, Sirens. Yeah, it is the Rangers. Despair, they're on Long Island. Will this be the year in which Canada finally has a team win the Stanley Cup? Because I don't think it will be. Fuck Canada, LMAO. I wish Canada had not won the Four Nations Cup or whatever thing that they were doing, just for the lulz. It's a shame they won that. I like the world in which the only country that actually cares about ice hockey can't win it. That stuff is funny as hell. What's wrong with this navel? The problem is it's facing too upward? Is that what's going on? I can't figure it out. Here's the center of the body. It's going like... Here's the crotch. It's going like this. I guess like that. I mean, if you think about that, China, India are kind of like that. China especially, they spend a shit ton of time. China cares about basketball way more than like any other country on this planet, including America. And they can't even like make the World Cup, or not the World Cup, what do you call it? Basketball champions, or they can't win in the Olympics. And they have like the most population and the most money. So theoretically, they should have the most talent and the most opportunities. But China, I think it's just fucking fascinating how both China and India absolutely fucking suck at team sports. India sucks at all sports besides cricket, considering their population, but you might be able to chalk it up to just like them still being a third world country at heart. But China can like win a shit ton of medals in the Olympics thanks to all their Soviet style Olympic programs. And then they also want to do the same thing with team sports, but they fucking suck at team sports no matter how much money and population they throw into it. It's really funny. Each time you draw a midriff, it's godly. Thank you, kind sirs. I don't know, man. I feel like there's still so much midriff stuff I need to learn. My midriff are still, they're not good enough. The combination of the abs and the rib cage and all that stuff. The eyes look a bit weird. I have to fix a lot of stuff off stream anyways. It's because I'm trying to draw them from above and I'm not really used to that angle very often. I usually just draw people from straight on. Also, I'm gonna fix her jaw. The whole point of gender bender is like you're supposed to make them more feminine. So even the slight amount of boniness in the jaw looks a little too masculine. I need to round that shit out a little bit more. I think the eyes are fine, honestly. I haven't drawn the whites of the eye, so I'll judge whether they need fixing or not after I draw that. What are his eye shape? He's supposed to have thin-ass eyes. The problem is if I actually draw them as thin as they are based on the official artwork, I won't be able to show any eye white from this angle from above. You have an artist that you like their earlier work more than their latest? Hmm. It'd be very specific hentai authors, probably. That's sort of the problem. And I can't show you examples on stream, obviously, then. I'm trying to think of, like, shonen authors and stuff where I could actually show you the content for comparison, but... Name's just alright. One of my favorite authors for masturbating in the early 2000s was Aki Kyoma, A-K-I. And after a certain point, he started to draw faces in a weird way. And it made his drawings way less fappable. And I was like, damn it, please just go back to how you used to draw. But he is retired at this point, I think. All my heroes have come and gone, but I'm still here. Jamie has eyebrows that are pretty close to his eyes, but that makes it look too masculine, so I need to do something about this. I don't know. I don't know how to do it. That's fine, whatever. How much nose should I draw? That's the question. You have to always be careful about how much nose you give your anime style characters because it can really stand out if you overdo it. Whatever, this is fine for now. I can always add some more lines later. Lower it a bit. What's the time? 8:30. Alright, that's enough drawing on stream for today. I believe my mother will be providing me with food soon, so I'm going to end the stream here. See you around, guys. I'm still working on my storyboard, so there will be less streams in general as I try and finish that up. And then there'll be more streams once I start working on the manga and I can do stuff on stream with the manga, like doing the black areas and stuff like that. That's easy to do on stream even if I'm not properly focused, so that's easy. See you around, guys. Good night.